Dear empath, the choices you make with the emotions that you have makes a world of difference. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking to the empaths in the house. Yes, you with a big heart, this video is for you. I want to let you know that I'm like you and you're not alone. Recently, I got really bad news, and this thing really hurt me. And on the same day that I got really good news, right? And as an empath, there's always a temptation to feel pain deeply, to feel when something bad happens to you, there's always the urge to withdraw, to just kind of be in your space. But I have learned that if I allow my emotions lead me, they never end well. And so what do I do now? I give myself time and I say, okay, River, you're allowed to sulk for 1 hour or 2 hours. And in that period of time that I have set for myself, I sulk. Like I cry, I watch a movie, I do whatever I need to do. I just shut my phone off, withdraw whatever I need to do. But then after that hour is up, I force myself to move on. And the first time you do it, your body doesn't want to move on, so you have to force yourself. So what I do sometimes is I play music and I just dance. I dance alone to like really fun music. I do things that kind of just lift up my spirit, just take me away from that place that I'm feeling. I force myself to move on. You do it 1 time, do it 2 times, do it 3 times, your body begins to respond. And so somehow your subconscious knows that it can only process this pain for a period of time. This is not to say that in the time post when you have sorted out that emotion or whatever, you're not still feeling the pain. Like sometimes I still think about the news I had and I still feel, oh, that was really sad. But I've learned to function in spite of what I'm feeling. I've learned to not let my emotions overwhelm me. I've learned to know that, okay, this is what I feel and this is what it is, and I acknowledge you, but you are not the boss of me. And so I command it back. I tell my emotions, you know what, I'm taking control, I'm taking power, I'm taking authority, and I am Namini reign in this situation, right? So, dear empath, I hope you know that you're being hard to the gifts. I hope you know that even though you feel things so deeply, you shouldn't let them control you. And I want you to also know that you have power over your emotions. If you don't get anything from this video, understand that you have power over your emotion. I'm also going to talk about boundaries, about how as an empath, you're supposed to set boundaries. You're supposed to, it's okay to let people know how to treat you. And it's okay to say, okay, this is where I stop for the moment. This is what I can take and this is what I cannot take. There was a time in my life where I was literally a sponge. I was just taking in and taking in and taking in and taking in. And it started to affect me, right? I got to a point where it was like a burnout for me because, yeah, there was no structure. There was no boundaries to it. So I would let people just pour on me. And when people know that they can, it's not that they're doing it to be bad people, but it's just a thing about human beings, right? You give them an arm, they take what you give. So if you're constantly there, I found out that I was just pouring myself out for every Tom, Dick, and bloody Harry. And it was just a weird place to be. So it helps to kind of just set those boundaries. And which brings me to the next thing I want to say. Don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to say no. It's okay to not be there for everybody at the same time. And I say this because when you feel things strongly, when people say things to you, you tend to feel them deeply. And so you want to be present for everybody. You want to be there. You want to be Superman, Superwoman. You want to carry everybody's burden, but you cannot bear the whole world in the entirety of your hands, right? You cannot carry the burdens of everybody. So learn to cut yourself some slack. Learn to understand that saying no, it's not necessarily you being mean, but saying no is also to protect yourself. It's also a form of boundary, and it doesn't make you a bad person, doesn't make you a terrible person, right? Finally, never feel guilty for all the emotions that you feel. I always say that there are no good or bad emotions. Every emotion is perfectly normal. What makes things good or bad is how you react to those emotions. For example, I can be sad, and being sad is not necessarily a bad thing, but when my sadness now leads me to hurt others, that's bad, right? So you're jealous. Jealousy is not necessarily a bad thing. It's normal. You get jealous sometimes. So, but what do you do with those emotions? So the choices you make with the emotions that you have, makes a world of difference. Anybody who knows me knows that I like food. I love food. And recently I started working out, started going to the gym and whatever. And yeah, it's been good. And I remember the first time I went to the gym and I died, and I was like, I don't want to see rice or cake near my side again. But then it was just something that I had said, and something that I really wanted to do. At the time when I said it, I was determined to do it. But I came home and my fridge was filled with all these things, and because I didn't have a structure in place to prevent me from enable me keep to the decision I had made, I ended up eating the things that I didn't want to eat. And I kept giving myself excuses like, well, I already had food. After this batch is finished, I won't cook again. After that is finished, I won't do that again. And I think that that's how it is with pretty much any temptation, cheating included. I feel like when somebody steps out on a promise they made, on a commitment they made, the media has sold us the idea that it is because the partner, wasn't loving enough, wasn't caring enough, or the other person. So say, for example, I step out of my relationship with another person, right? So they make it seem like there was a pull from the other person where you felt like you're just attracted to the other person and you could not help it. And that is my problem with that ideology. The notion that feelings or emotions cannot be contained, that they cannot be controlled. Something about that idea makes it sound like your feelings, your emotions, they are more powerful than you. And that is a lie. I say that precisely as someone who feels things very deeply. Your emotions do not control you. You set the pace. You tell your emotions how you want them to play out. You tell your emotions how you want to see them, pour out. That's pretty much it. So when someone cheats, this is how I visualize it, right? I don't think that happened in one day. It's something that had been brimming over time. Like, you thought about it, you thought about the consequences, and you damned the consequences. There's a part of you that thinks, you know what, right before I eat that cake, I know more to lose things. I'm just like, you know what, damn the consequences. And you go ahead and do it anyway. And the reason why you can do that is because your boundaries, it's a series of ignored boundaries where there's no structure in place. There's nothing in place to enable that doesn't happen. So say, for example, you're in a relationship now and you're texting when you know you're supposed to be texting, those odd hours messages. You're just doing as it hot. There's no structure, there's no boundaries. Yeah, something is bound to happen to something, and then you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. There's a wrong moment when there's not supposed to be a moment, and then you find yourself doing something that you're not supposed to do, that you ordinarily would not have done, but because the time, the place, everything was right. So I really hope that this video helps you manage your emotions better. I really hope that this video reminds you that your heart is a gift, and that, yeah, you're not alone.